Good evening, traders. I am Gator, and we're going to do another strategy review video here, going over the Know Your Limit 21 on the 2-minute, how I use this to make money pretty much every day, what I look for in this trade, how I pick the target today. So this is a mix of a trade review and an actual strategy video. So I'll show the video live, the recording of the trade today. We'll talk about the levels, entry and exit, your risk management in a trade. A lot of different factors are going to come into this video. This is all kind of part and parcel of what we've been talking about lately in having an idea going into the trade, a strategy going into a trade, and then practicing proper risk management. So this is going to be an overall, let's say, a trading plan video along with a trade review that happened today. It happened live in Discord. If you're here, you saw it get called out. So let's go ahead and jump into this review. So, like I said before, I'm Gator, and if you do like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe. We're continuing to grow this channel, and it does mean a lot to me if you subscribe. And if you do want to know when I go live, you can hit the notification button, and you'll know when my videos are going to go live. And you can also know by going to Discord. I usually post in there before I do. But you also see uploads and stuff like that, and you'll help the channel. So if you could be so kind as to do that, I would really appreciate it. So first, let's go review today. Let's get my face out of the way here. All right, so we had Tesla today. Here is Tesla at the open. We had a gap down. We did play this down move, but the down move is not what I'm really going to focus on. We did this. We did do this today. If you drew this fib line here, so I'm going to review some of what we did today. First, we shorted Tesla. We shorted Tesla here as it went down. When we got this pull back up into the 8, or as this 2-minute candle started pulling up, I drew a fib. I talked through this trade live. Mitchell talked through this trade live. Both of us did this. And then I gave this level here. This is how I got this level. Literally as soon as we pulled up, I just threw this fib line in, and that was my target for the short in Tesla. This hit. I'm not reviewing this trade. I'm just going through. So this is what happened in the day up to this point. So at this point in the day, most of the money has been made. Now, as soon as we hit this fib line, the 127, and we start going up, I think I tried a short, and once it was kind of clear that it wasn't going to go down, and there was a lot of strong buying in here, and the Q's kind of reversed, and we weren't going to like bounce off of any of these, we get above the 21, all right, I'm like, okay, I think this is now a good candidate for the reverse fib, where you do this, and you do it in this direction. So then we played this move, and the room played this move, and we scalped Tesla long up until the 127 was my target, so right about in here, and then it might have went up a little bit. Obviously, it went up a little bit more, and it actually ended up going to the 168. 717.53. Look how this works. Look how amazing these two fib lines are, guys. Just as a random, before we get into the trade that we're going to review today, look what you can get in a name just from having those two fib lines. The first one gave you the first target at the 127. Once it failed to break down at the 8 or the 21 and go lower to give you another leg down, and instead we pop, you throw this, you buy the next green takes right, or the next 2-minute breakout after you come in and test the 21, and then look at this. You hit the 127, you pull down, and you still get this move up eventually to that 161. This move doesn't always happen, but it did hit. So there you go. So easy. Absolutely love these fib lines. That's how I get my targets in the day when I'm calling them out. It's nothing special. It's no secret. So after we hit that line, what do we know now? Per the last video that I did talking about these types of setups. Okay, the move is done. The move is probably done. Let's now look for a re-entry short. I'm not going to do this one yet. So you can see this, and you can see these down moves. So we pull back, we come below the 21, we come up into the 21, and then we go short, and we go all the way down to very close to this 161 level. And then we bounce into the 21. The second bounce into the 21 is a trade I'm going to cover, because this is something sometimes people don't see. You have a lot of things going on right now. So you've had a move to the upside. and now you're back down. So you had your 3 legs up, now you had 1 leg down, 2 legs down. So we should get a 3rd leg down. Tesla hit the 21 and failed, went down below VWAP in the 21. We pop back up and we come into the 21 on the 2 minute and VWAP. And then you have a red take screen on the 2 minute, which is your entry short. I am going to show you this trade. I'm going to show you how I got this trade, and I'm going to show you what the target on this trade was, and I'm going to show you beforehand, and I wonder if you'll know how I got the actual target for the trade. And that's how I got the actual target for the trade. It wasn't this, it was just fibbing that 3rd leg. And I think you could have done it either way. I think this one would have got you there. So there's 2 things you could have done. I did this. I just fibbed to the last move, and I took this, and this was my target. But here you could have done this, and this would have given you a little bit more aggressive target, I think, but still 127 of the entire move. But this gave you another move on the leg. And so let's watch this trade. So at this point in the day, I was in Discord. I was about to short the Qs. I actually had jumped in the Qs short, as you can see this short here. And Dennis in Discord said, oh, look at Tesla. I wasn't watching Tesla at this point. I was watching to short the Qs, and you can see the Qs are doing the same thing. And I liked the Q short. And so I had taken it, and then he mentioned Tesla, and I looked and I threw up some fibs and stuff on a Tesla chart that you won't see on these because it's a different chart. And I was like, oh, I really like Tesla more than I like the Qs here. So I sold and took a like $700-800 loss here in the Qs. And instead of taking this one, I jumped over and I traded Tesla instead of the triple Qs. And so that's what you're about to see here. And these charts will update in a second. So there's Tesla. Oh, there we go. We updated. So here's the time on the chart. You can see it, and I just entered Tesla there. What I'm looking at here is you have on the 1 minute chart here a 1 pop up into the 1 minute and into VWAP. You can see that you kind of tested the 21 and VWAP here. You're about to go through. You're at the bottom. I'm front running a breakdown. I look at it. I'm like, I really like this. This is the 5 minute chart up here. I'm like, yeah, I really like this. I'm in. And I just jumped in the trade. My stop would have been above VWAP. If it would have popped another, I can't tell how much that was, but if it would have popped that, I would have gotten out. So this is my entry, stops above VWAP, and your short is to that pivot. So we enter the trade, we take 20 contracts. 20 contracts is the risk here. These are at the money contracts. Not a ton of risk when you're at the money on a name during the day that's moving very slow at an entry like this on the 21. At most, I'm going to lose 50 cents on this trade. If I lose 50 cents, that's $1,000. I was very green today, so this wasn't, for me in the day where I was at, there was no risk in this trade as far as that entry. Like my risk was roughly $1,000 to $1,500, and you'll see what the result of the trade is overall. All right, so now we triggered. You triggered short. A lot of you sell right here. There's nothing wrong with selling right here. Or you wait a little bit longer and you sell. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I did not, because that was not the idea. I saw the overall trade. I was trying to do it in the Qs, and then I saw Tesla. I liked Tesla more. I jumped over and I took it in Tesla instead. At this point, I'm kind of watching the tape now. I want to watch how it reacts as it breaks down. I'm very comfortable with being in it. I'm not rushing to get out. This is very bearish tape. Very bearish tape. Just watch how that tape has been. Look how it's just getting beat down. 700 is normally a good pivot for a bounce. So I'm kind of expecting a little bit of a bounce here. I'm going to do something here that I would not have done if I didn't. I sold here because I thought it was smart, not because it was what I necessarily wanted to do. But I knew that this was safe. And at this point in the day, this was the best thing for me to do. Watch it go up, and it's going to come back down. I decide at this point, I don't want to sell here, but I'm like, you know what? The safest thing to do is to sell the first part of this move before the 5 minute breakdown and just take half off. Because if I take half off, it's a guaranteed win on the trade. No chance of me losing. I'm not scared of Tesla popping here. This is still super bearish tape right now. The Qs are, I believe, going down at this point too. You're not, when I talk about tape reading, if we jump back a little bit or you rewind in this video and you see Tesla bouncing up there off 700, you don't see really good volume coming in. And look how hard we're flushing down here. There's no chance that I'm at all afraid of this tape. So I should be getting ready to sell here. I decide I'm going to sell at some point. I think I sell a little bit late after it pops back up into 700. When do I sell? I should be selling somewhere around here. I'm watching. I think I tell myself, you know what? If it gets above 700, I'm going to look and take some off of this just to lock in the trade. This is 12 in the afternoon. There's no reason to take a big risk. I should get out here. I get out somewhere around the 700. It might pop a little bit more before I do. So, no, I know I don't get out yet because it doesn't load up 10. Either way, somewhere around this point, I'm telling myself I'm going to get out of some of the trade just to make it where I can hold it, because I'm talking in chat, I'm doing some other stuff. We all know how Tesla can do, how it can whip against you. So I think, you know what, let's go risk off on this trade. And this is what I highly recommend you do if you want to take a longer hold. If you want to get into longer holds, the smart thing would have been for me to sell. I know I do end up selling around that same level here. I just don't remember when it is. The smartest thing you could do is take risk off at a point in the trade like this. Because at this point, you had a failed 5-minute break. You had a 5-minute breakdown. Now we're kind of failing. We're still on that leg lower. We still have that lower target in mind that we're looking at. But you don't want to be holding a trade with all of your risk on. Because what happens if market news comes out? What happens if something goes and it just rips up against you? You need to take off and make sure you have a guaranteed win. So let's wait and see what we do here. I know I'm gonna sell this. I'll move my face out of the way so we can watch the 1-minute chart and you can kind of see what it's doing. So I'm still watching the tape. There's no overall bear or bullish tape here. We're still failing to break, so here's where I'm like, okay, let's just take some off. So I'm not like sitting here watching this. I can type in chat. I don't really have to babysit the trade because it would have to pop, you know, a ton for me to lose at this point. So it's kind of accelerating off of 700 there. There's what I'm talking about with you, a little bit of acceleration. A little bit of acceleration, so I wait a little bit longer than I should have. It's not a great sell, but that's not the point. The point is now I don't want to sell my other 10. And I actually thought about buying more into the trade if we failed a 2-minute breakout here. I was really considering doing that. That's kind of part of the strategy sometimes, is if you have a failed 2-minute breakout and you start breaking down again, you get back into it. But I'm watching the trade play out. You can see a little bit more buying coming in here. I'm waiting to see how it reacts as we break out. My stop loss on this trade now is above this candle here on the 2-minute. If it doesn't break that, then I'm here. And I've already won 10 contracts. That's $1,200. So I'm already up $1,200 on this trade no matter what happens. If my contracts go back to $11, then I break even. I still make $1,000 on this trade. So it's a guaranteed winner. This is what you need, because some people would be shaken out here. It pops some. Your contracts are back to $11.50. And you're like, okay, I'm just going to get out. And then all you make on this trade is $500. You know, you sell all of your contracts and all you make is just a little bit on this trade instead of letting the actual trade work. But the only way I was able to let this trade work with 20 contracts there was by taking some off the table. And I should have took some off the table a little bit earlier. I didn't. That's fine. It doesn't matter. You know, don't execute everything perfectly. But I still like this tape bearish. I still don't see it as overly strong. Like, it's not just pushing higher. It's kind of grinding higher a little bit. I expected to do that some, but it's not just breaking out. It's not just pushing back into the 21. And now the 21 is below the top of the candle I would get out in. So there's not really any evidence, as it were. Like, if it does pop up here, it's got to get through the 2-minute 21 before it gets through the candle that I entered on. So I still like this trade to the downside. I'm going to stay in the trade. And we're going to watch the trade play out. And I might jump ahead. This is, I think I got 9 minutes left in the trade. So it's an 18-minute trade. And if while we're going through this, if you guys have questions about this, about what I'm watching on the tape, you know, you can see here on the 1 minute candle, which I use for, like, look, when we pop, we have a topping tail, we have a topping tail, you know, down here we have a topping tail, full body, we pop up, topping tail. So if this was a full body higher, this candle, I would be a little bit more worried. We have a 5 minute inside bar, so, you know, you could put your stop at the top of that 5 minute if you wanted to on the rest of your contracts. But still, no fear, just let the trade ride. You have a target in mind, you know, you have something you're waiting for. You're 100% a winner on this trade no matter what happens. Let's let the trade play out and let the trade work. And I don't have fibs thrown up on this chart because a lot of the fib drawing I do, I put it up on a different chart, on my main 9 charts, and this is one of the 4 charts that I use for the OBS. That's why you can't see it, but the fib lines have been drawn at this point, and I do have that target laid out, and I called it out in chat. I posted it in the VTF too, the level I was looking for Tesla to go to. Well, it's not too much. I can jump ahead a little bit just because we're watching tape. I'm trying to see if there's anything specifically about the tape that I can see here. And really, all I'm seeing is that it's not overly strong. We're not flushing, but the trade is still working. You know, 700 is a big level. It's a key level all day, whole numbers in Tesla. So I don't expect it to just flush it. It's going to bounce around here a little bit, take out the buyers, and then continue to go a little bit lower. So let's jump ahead a little bit. Here we go. I want to watch that flush, because that feels good when this happens. Here we go. Here's your selling coming in, more selling coming in, more volatility coming in. There you go. I'm ready to sell 5 contracts now. I have that target. Let me go to my other chart so I can see what it was, because I don't exactly remember as that's playing out. I think my target was the original low, so I was going to take another 5 off at like 98.72, which I think is what I'll do here. There we go. So as we hit, so my second target was the low of the previous pivot. So my second target was, and it probably, I should have just let it go, but the second target for me on this trade beforehand, I had planned on selling at the bottom of this line here, at the bottom of this, and you can see this at 100%. So when we got back there and we got to the 698.74, I was going to sell. That was always part of the plan, so I let that happen. And you can see it kind of whipping around here, deciding where it wants to go. And then the rest of the contracts, the 5 contracts that I'm in now, the final target on those contracts are 695.43. And now I have literally pretty much a 0% chance of losing. Added $500 to that trade, so it went from a $1,200 trade, added another $500 on top of that, a point on 5 contracts, so now it's a $1,700 trade. And if we just let this go forward, we can watch it pop around here. I don't mind going back and talking through the tape, but I feel like some of the tape reading stuff can be redundant, and you can just see that we're not breaking out. And let's do one thing here. So here we go. And I know Mitchell bought this, so I'm going to talk about this candle really quick because I know Mitchell bought this candle, and I don't know when he did it. But Mitchell got into this 1 minute candle when it hit the 8. And if you're not holding this the whole time, but you're in this big down move, the 1 minute 8 can be a great entry on a continuation of the short. So let's watch the tape here, just as a little bit of tape reading. So we're going to pop here, and we're going to give a little shakeout. So let's watch it pop. We pop into the 8. We should know that level if we're looking to re-enter or add some here. And let's watch what happens. Let's watch how this plays out. I assume it goes down, or does it just lean in? I don't tell me 8 leans in, that'd make it hard. So the trick is, if you're just actually scalping this and trading it, it would be, it doesn't hit. So it does pop up and it comes out. That's annoying. It didn't. I thought it hit because it leans in. So it pops up into the 8, and then it pops up, and as soon as it gets back into the body of the previous candle, you should know, like, okay, I can re-enter this short. And a lot of times if I'm following a trade or something, that would be kind of a re-entry. If we pop up above a candle and then you start putting in that bar and you tick back into it, if I'm just scalping this, that's my re-entry short. And then I would sell if I was just scalping as it breaks through that level. That's what I look for on that. And it looks like it hit it just because it did that, but it didn't. So again, final target on this trade is 695.43, and I'm not going to sell until it hits 695.43. Let's jump ahead a little bit. It's still going down, still a lot of selling, jumping 30 seconds at a time, just because there's not a ton. And at any point, you could sell here, and there we go. Did I sell? I sold my other 5. So let's jump back a little bit, just to watch how this, oh, that's a little bit more, just to watch how this trade ends. All right, so we're coming in. I'm watching the bid and the ask. I'm watching the prints right here, seeing where it goes. We're very near target. Very near target. I'm just waiting for target to hit. Target comes in. Target is about to print. And target prints. And I should sell, and I sell. Now, that's the trade. Tesla kept going down. Could have held. I think those contracts went up a lot more. Doesn't matter. You have to have a trade idea, risk management, at least a rudimentary level of, you don't necessarily have to have this, but the tape reading ability. Then you just watch it and you can just tell, like, you have to have trust in your trade and what's happening. And the only real hard part of that trade was this part of the trade when we were sitting there at the beginning and the tape was bouncing around. You know what the trick to that part of the trade was? It was selling 10 contracts and making a point on them. So if I make $1,000 on any trade, I'm pretty happy, Now, if you sit there and, you do a few minutes work at this time of the day, I'm looking for 1 or 2 trades. I'm not looking for a lot of trades. I'm not looking to hyper scalp. I'm looking for a trade I can take, something with confidence, something that I can get into and be like, I like this. Here we go. You have these moves that Tesla's been moving great all day. It's been doing these little, hitting your lines all day, and now we broke below and we're in the middle of a 3-leg down move, and you've had your first and that you had your second, and now you pop back up to the 21. You have a clear entry for your third. The hardest part was holding here. Well, what made it so easy to hold there? Selling 10 of them right here. And then I never got shaken out, and you just sit in the trade and you wait for it. And you wait for your target to hit. I don't think I executed that trade perfectly. I think I could have done some stuff different. Like, I could have sold on the initial drop. I could have sold 10 on the drop. I would have made more, like 50 cents more, so $500 more on the drop. And then held a little bit different. And I could have done a few things differently that I might try to change on some of my future trades. But overall, the idea of the trade, which was I wanted to enter either this or the Qs, and I took this, and I wanted to take it off the entry, take it short, and sell some to make it an easy hold and trade. I planned on getting out around 700 just because it's a key level. I did. I was hoping it would flush and hit 98 first. It didn't, so I was like, I'm just going to take some off here. I think this is safer, just because you never know what Tesla or the market's going to do. So I'm going to take some off, guarantee a win, sell some at the 100% retracement when it gets to here, and then as we flush, my next sell will be the 695. And it worked, and the trade worked, the plan worked, and I let it play out. And the stop on the last 5 contracts, you can move that up to wherever you want. For me, I probably would have moved it back up to $700, and then I would have taken a small extra $500 win or whatever on that instead of an extra 2 points on it. So there's a way you can do that. There's a way that you can identify these trades, find them, use them, but in order to make money in the afternoons when the market's slower, in order to do that, you have to zoom out and see the whole market, or at least the name you're trading. What has it been doing? Is it trading in a way that I can make money? Is it trading orderly? What part of the move are we in? I've been using fib lines to do that. So it's like, okay, we're here, we fib this whole, you could fib this whole move, and then once we get, back above 50%, you could see it popped up here, went back down to 50%, where you get an idea of what the stock is doing. So your first move is like, okay, we're done. Our second move, just that first leg of that second move, pull down and go in. All right, so, well, on the second part of the day, you could do this in the afternoon. On the second part of the day, All right, you know, if you're somewhere in here, all right, so what happened earlier today? Can I identify what happened earlier today in the name? It's like, yeah, I can identify it. We went down here, we hit the 127, we bounced up, we bounced off the 21, and we put in one leg, two, or I'm on the wrong screen, one leg, two leg, three legs higher into the 168 pivot. So the up move is probably done. We've then pulled down and we've hit the 8, and now we're going down. And if I'm in here, what am I looking for? Am I looking to chase Tesla short? No. What am I waiting for? I'm waiting for a retracement into a moving average of the 21. And you can get that level in the middle of the day by doing this. If you want to trade a name and you had this happen, and let's say you're looking at Tesla here and you missed a short, you're like, okay, when's the next time I can short it? Well, let's throw this line up here. All right, so there's a good chance Tesla's going to go at least to 204, and then or 702, because that's the number here. So we're at least going to here, maybe a little bit lower. So let's just watch this and see what happens. You could also do a measured move if you wanted to, if that's your kind of thing, and you could do this, and you could do this, you could do duplicate, and you could do that. Look at that, that's nice. So you could say we're going somewhere in that area. All right, I'm going to wait for it to get down there. I'm going to wait for a retracement then into the 8 VWAP or 21, preferably 21. All right, we hit the 21. When we're back here in the trade and I miss this trade, I already know I'm waiting for this to happen again in this name. You can set alerts. You can set whatever you want to. You just zoom out and you just have it sit there, and you just sit there and you wait. That's how I trade in the afternoon. I'm not hyper scalping everything. I'm sitting back, I'm waiting. I've got 3 or 4 charts that I like that I'm looking for this on. I draw the fib lines or measured moves, and then if I do it right and some numbers start lining up and other people are seeing the same thing that I do, and then you see a trade like this, you take it and you let it run. So that's how I identified the trade. That's how I identified where we were in the day to catch that. Thanks to Dennis for calling out that trade. I was going to do the Qs. I think they work too, but I liked Tesla more. I really like that setup and that short. It was just beautiful when you had all this here. I was like, yeah, I got to take this. And I 20 contracts into it, let it play out, and I think it ended up being I don't know, $3,000 trade or something like that. Pretty good for 2 in the afternoon, just for sitting here. You know, if you're not going to trade much in here and you're just going to wait for these to set up, high conviction trades, high conviction setups that anybody can do, anybody can learn. You just have to start recognizing the patterns, recognizing where we're at in the day, zooming out, looking left at your charts, and then put it all together by creating a trade idea, entering the trade based off that idea, creating a target, taking some risk off early. That's your money management, your risk management, so you can let the trade work, whatever you need to do mentally for you there, whether it's the initial pop or a certain target, because you're going to be wrong sometimes, and you want to make money when you're wrong. I would have made money if I was wrong on this trade, and that's a nice thing. So that's a good thing. That's going to give you success over a long term. And then when you're right and you're just really right, then you get the bigger money, as it were, on this trade on a hold like that. So that's the idea. That's the idea for this video. If you like this kind of stuff, guys, you want to see more of it, not only just the trade reviews, but the strategy talkthroughs, or you want more videos specifically on how to trade the different strategies that I trade every day and kind of break down what I'm looking for and when I'm taking them and when I'm not taking them, I can continue to do some stuff like this and post these videos. And then if you guys ask questions in the comments or anything else like that, or you DM me, I'll put together some videos answering your questions. So I hope this was clear and concise, and I try to keep it shorter, around 30 minutes on these, on how you can identify that trade, how you can find this trade, how you can create a target, and how you can get your entries and exits along the way to actually allow yourself to hit that target or be wrong and still get paid. All keys of a successful trade, especially later in the day when things are moving slower. So with all that, guys, again, I'm Gator. Like, share, subscribe. Let other people know about this content if this is something that you want. You can see the link to the Discord that I'm a part of in the comments below. And if you're interested in joining that, just click on it. It's free. You can come and trade with me, ask questions, and some other really amazing traders. Love the people I trade with, the Bandit family. So you guys have a great evening, and I will talk to you all next time you're in the market with me. Have a good day.